Hey there, I'm Tracy Spears, speaker, author, coach, head cheerleader of Meg Myers Morgan and anybody else wanting to play bigger. So this week, Meg Myers Morgan has been with us before, but if you are new to the Shipped Out Loud podcast, I'm going to read her amazing bio. Here we go. As a highly sought after keynote speaker and best-selling author, Dr. Meg Myers Morgan speaks and writes at the intersection of working and worth. She is the author of the award-winning essay collection Hairbrain, the best-selling personal development book, Everything is Negotiable, and the critically acclaimed novel, The Inconvenient Unraveling of Gemma Sinclair, which reached #1 in new release fiction on Amazon and #1 on the Oklahoma bestseller list, where it still resides, I believe. Dr. Morgan is certified in executive and leadership coaching through Columbia University and serves as an associate professor at the University of Oklahoma. And that is the shortest bio for somebody's accomplishments that I have read to date. But I love writes at the intersection of working and worth. So let's start there. Dr. Meg Myers Morgan, welcome.
Hi, Tracy. Thank you so much for having me back.
Listen, I end up in these amazing conversations with you every time I see you. And so two things on that, no surprise, and they're not enough.
No.
But we, and when you got on the call here, I was like, oh, I don't want to waste the banner. I just... Right. I think you're so interesting, and we always end up in some interesting conversations. So
always be recording, Tracy. That's
AVR. Yeah, that's it. But we're going to talk all things Gemma Sinclair. And then I read on my way back from Singapore, and I want to talk about that. But let's just kind of catch the audience up a bit. Most of them are going to be familiar with you. What's going on in Meg Myers Morgan world right now?
Well, on a personal note,
tell me, King.
Yeah. So my oldest daughter started high school.
What?
I know. Thank you. I know every parent says that. Every parent is so surprised how old their child is. I'm not surprised she's that old, but when I say it, it feels weird. And then my youngest child started 6th grade. So it's sort of that transition of like kind of big things like junior high or middle school and high school. So that's been kind of fun. And then this summer the book came out. So it's just been it's a really exciting time in life right now.
Your kids seem like just made for this, like to do whatever the fuck they want to do. I love that about them both. And you are mostly like that with a soft underbelly we can talk about.
Yeah.
But they are just, you and Jim have to be so unbelievably proud of how they're moving about the world.
And take very little credit. There's something about how I believe so strongly in like how you're developed by your parents. But there's also part of it when you're a parent where you're like, they popped out that way. Like, I don't know, like you see it immediately. And I always tell the story about Lowry that she was born on her due date with her eyes open and not crying. And I always say it's because she was looking around and she was ready to give notes. She was like, this isn't gonna work. But yeah, just the self-possessed nature of both of them, even going through the transition time that they're going through is inspiring to me. Like they say stuff and I'm like, yeah, I want to be like that. And so it's just, people talk so much trash on teenagers. I think there's like, I've never had more fun with them than at this age.
I love that. And we'll talk about that after they turn 16 and 17. Right now.
I think so much of parenting is like, oh, just you wait. And you're sort of told that just you wait till terrible twos, just you wait. And it's not that there isn't that, but I think there's part of it. It's like, wait, why do we keep saying that? It is a chance to get to know your kid better. I don't know.
I agree with you because I do believe that it sets in confirmation bias as a parent.
Yeah.
And then you're looking for, oh, here they come. And you're missing who that child really is. So I'm with you on that. Yeah. And I'm worried about Christmas songs and nursery rhymes and, things. Anyway. So let's.
I'm worried about it all. I mean,
this is why I didn't have children, but I'm a grandmother, as you know.
Yeah.
And recently, doesn't matter, but I am loving that part of it, right? That I can at least have the 1 or 2 hours and then
100%.
so yeah.
It's just, and like you've noticed they form into their own self. And then you're like, well, this is fun. This is, I don't know, just their preferences. I'm like, you like onions? Who taught you like, I don't know. There's just some weird stuff where you're like, I don't know where that came from. And that's just so fun because I think you spend the early parts of parenthood trying to see yourself in them. And then as they get older, you try to see themselves in them. And it's just nice. Now, I want to pause here.
Yes.
You just said, doesn't matter, which I've seen. I know you say that, doesn't matter. You say it on TikTok too. I want to know, I sometimes want to know what you're about to say.
Really?
Yeah. So tell me, doesn't matter when you're saying that, do you mean it's not pertinent to what I'm talking about right now?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I mean. I have more things in my head than I can get out at any one time. And so it is how I synthesize what's the most important thing I should be saying. So when
you're doing that in real time.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's impressive.
I don't know. I don't think I'm doing very good at it, or my tell wouldn't be so obvious.
Well, because sometimes I think you're saying doesn't matter. I can't tell you. Like doesn't matter. Right. And then I was like, oh, maybe she says that because it's not important to the story and she's keeping us focused. And then I think, man, I don't focus ever. Like in conversations, we better take a long ass path to wherever we're going. So it's a good way to catch yourself. I just wondered, did you develop that? Because
no one has been this succinct in asking me this question. I'm going to give you an answer that may or may not matter. My business partner, Wally, we'll do a 30-minute meeting, and in 7 minutes, he's like, okay, I'm done. And so in that partnership, I have had to learn to be more succinct. He's had to learn to listen to a full 7 minutes and not 3. I mean, let's be honest. But so I think part of that is that. And also, we talk a lot about word economy in our leadership training programs. Don't say 10 words when 2 will do. And so I also have that in my, because I watch people over and over, and you're an executive coach. So you haven't seen the same thing happen. People just lose the room and they don't even know it. And I don't want to be that person, right?
Oh, you couldn't if you tried. And I'm not being critical of the doesn't matter. I was just very curious about it because I love your TikToks. I am obsessed with watching them. And I like to put them on when I have something to do, like I'm putting my makeup on, because they're longer form. And I love longer form TikToks because if they're 2 seconds, I'm like, oh crap, this is how addicted I am. I have to scroll on putting the mascara on. So I save them until I'm getting ready. And then I listen to you. I listen to you all, you and Shannon, just, well, it doesn't matter. I listen to you all.
Now I want to hear everything. It does matter. What were you not saying? Listen, this is the truth. It's so vulnerable, the TikTok thing.
Of course.
Because I'm just putting it out there. Shannon is too, like we both are. And people keep saying, why? This is not my podcast, by the way. This is yours. So, but
it's you and me.
Okay, good. Well, we're going to switch back to you. And yet, the feedback has been, thanks for saying what's going on in my life.
Yeah.
This will segue back to you. But as a writer, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to tell our stories so other people can live theirs or feel theirs or remember theirs. And so in service of the creative part of me, the TikTok has been this wonderful platform to do that, because the writing part of me that is not as highly curated as I want it to be, nor is it even close to yours, the TikTok gives me the freedom to kind of be able to in service of, because turning 60 is no joke. And, I love Julia Louis-Dreyfus because she's talking about it with women that are 80 and 90, like, what's that? What's that's like? But for you, I think your books are doing that too for everybody. So that's the segue back to you.
Yeah, and I'm happy to segue, I promise. But one of the things I wanted to commend you on is the format of you've sort of done what you two wanted to do. And you sort of joke about, we don't even know how to put in a video. It does not matter. Like you doing it, you showing up and doing it in your way is why it's good versus like you're not following trends. You're not doing this funny trend over here. You're not putting in all the stuff that other people do. And I think you may read that as, oh, we're not doing it well. But I'm like, no, they're doing it them. Like, it's so like, I love that about it, that you're just like it doesn't, I don't get the sense that you all have, and maybe you have, but stopped and re-recorded. I mean, it just seems like you're getting on there. And it's that, I think that is so Tracy, and what I assume is so Shannon. But anyway, I love it.
Thank you for that. But there is zero chance that's a re-recorded. I mean, it would be so much better if it was. But
that's your fifth version.
That's right. Yeah, something's really wrong. Well, that's for me. I never want it to feel like work. Like when I do leadership training videos and you're in a studio and it's got to be highly curated and edited and scripted and all the things. So, when Shannon, she is prone to say, well, let's decide. And I'm like, oh, no, I can't. This has to be stream of consciousness for me, or it will feel like work. If it feels like work, it won't be fun, and I don't want to do it. Because if the day comes that that's not fun, the TikTok piece, I don't think I will want to do it anymore in service of work.
Oh, that's such a good, true north for you. Like that, that about it, and I love that. And you're honestly protecting that. That's brilliant. That's so good to know.
So here's the big miss is I went to this beautiful wedding, and there's a creator tab in my TikTok that says, when you upload a video, do you want to add pictures or anything? And so I was trying to do that, and I was like, I nailed it. And then went to bed and got up the next morning. Everyone's like, where are the wedding photos? I was like, damn it, I don't know where they are.
People would think that.
So anyway, I am going to elicit some help to get those wedding videos, because my friends, Barbara and Cindy, they got married. It was the most beautiful.
Yeah, it looked beautiful.
Wedding. Yeah, it was great. It was great. All right. So I love, so really, we could just have a conversation every week and this.
We can record it because we can't.
I feel like that's right.
You got some gold nuggets.
Listen, you have had a big summer. I am, so with kids going to school and all the things, but you released your book.
Yeah.
What is the release date?
July 15th.
So ahead of that, I watched a masterclass of somebody that was about to release a book, as somebody that has released a couple and didn't do any of that. So when you were kind of thinking of releasing that, I'm going to go all the way back to you deciding to pick the book back up, because that was, this is a book that's been in the works for 5 years or for longer, actually. Do you mind telling the audience a little bit about this book and kind of the origin of that, and you and Jim and how that all?
Yeah. So I have a collection of essays. I have sort of a self-development, career development book. So have kind of been in that nonfiction space.
Now, wait a minute. You have an amazing self-development.
Oh, thank you.
Negotiate everything.
Yeah.
We should talk about, and we have. So go find our previous podcast.
Yeah.
But I want to say this, that book is timeless. It stands the test of time.
Thank you.
And I'm watching people discover that for the first time. And so that's this novel. So anyway, I just didn't want to miss the opportunity to find that book.
That's so nice. So I went through a writing program in undergrad, and everyone in that writing program wanted to be the great American novelist. And I wanted to be David Sedaris. I wanted to be just like this humorist. So the idea of doing fiction was not even a twinkle in my eye. And so anyway, I released a novel because I never want to do this, but I have to give you so much credit, and this podcast so much credit, because I can't remember which time I came to visit you, but I was very stressed about my writing career. I was like in turmoil with you and felt even an emotional hangover the next day where I was like, did I just whine and bitch to Tracy for an hour about my writing career? And I said in this flippant way, it's not like I'm trying to be a literary genius. And you stopped me and you said, well, why not?
Right.
And I swear to God, in that moment, I get goosebumps now. I was like, wait, why? Like, I was so frustrated and wanted to accept so little for myself in the next step. And you sort of said that. And of course, then I was like, oh, I really do have goosebumps.
Me too, by the way.
Why am I talking like that? And so there must have been something in me that was like, no, I do want to be a literary. Why would I have said it that way? And you immediately, as you do, heard it, pointed it out, held the mirror up to me. So I started drafting this in 2020. I don't remember when the podcast was, so I don't know if I can't remember the timeline exactly, but we were deep in COVID and all of that. And I just sort of told Jim, I think I have this idea for a novel. And I really just put down like a sentence, a plot point per chapter, basically. And then I just wrote it linearly, which I don't know how most people write. I don't know if they pick scenes. Yeah, I don't know if they pick scenes, but for me, I was like, I have to get the story out. And for those of listeners who don't know, Jim has been my editor, like my first look. I mean, obviously the publishers have editors, but so we sent it to my agent when it was done, and she looked at it and had notes. And so we kind of revised it a little bit, and then she tried to sell it and was unsuccessful. And so we shelved it. I wrote an entirely second novel. And then a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, Jim was like, I think you have to go back to Gemma. I think it's time. And I didn't see it. I could, like, once we shelved it, I was like, it isn't big enough. It isn't strong enough. There's something about it. We got really great feedback from the editors, but just there wasn't enough oomph. And so Jim and I printed copies at Quick Print and sat with it and went line by line. And we had note cards, and we put all these note cards out on the dining room table, and we moved plot points around. And he had a couple of massive suggestions that really shaped the book. And so I went through it again, and we did it again and got it right that time. And so it really did take, when I say 5 years, it wasn't obviously every day, all day, but it kind of is in your head for 5 years.
That's right.
So yeah, I credit you very deeply, and I credit Jim very deeply, because I think it was two people who had my best interest at heart. And I think a good editor or a good friend is coming in with the red pen, is coming in and saying, wait a minute, I'm going to correct what you just said, or wait a minute, I'm going to correct that sentence. And I think every writer worth their salt owes their editor, both you and Jim.
Listen, I do want to weep at how kind that is, because that was so easy for me to say in that moment, because of my experience of you. And so, so thank you. And when I think about that day, I knew you were shifted. Like this, the point of this is let's talk about, ways that you have shifted out loud and the shit.
Yeah.
You fucking did it during the podcast.
Right. We captured it.
I know. And you, later the next day, I knew you were having a hangover because you texted me and you were like, oh my gosh. And all that. So, and then when I saw you for a bit, you were like, oh my gosh. So I felt honored that, to be in that space, because just like you, I have had those experiences where somebody said something at just the right time and you were like, what? And it just changes everything. That is the definition of a shift out loud. So
that's right. Well, you talk about being in the audience, and I talked about the lighthouse, and that I'm like, yeah. And I sat in a room with you, and you said one line to me. And I think that's so, like, it usually only takes that. Because I had to be open to it, obviously. I had to trust you enough. But yeah, that was massive turning point for me.
And if you don't do something with the lighthouse, why are we not writing a book about that? We should think about that, because as you know, people are saying, I was in Greece this summer, and, we were out in the, middle of the ocean, and Kathy Taylor, my friend, and our friend, and was, well, where do y'all want to go? And I go, I saw a lighthouse. I've got to go take a picture of me by the lighthouse. And she's like, what? And so we go over there, like we all get out of the boat, and she goes, I want to be in the picture. So we all take a picture of all of us in front of the lighthouse. And she's like, I love that story. So the story goes on. It's shifting people.
I love that. And I love that I got a text from you from Greece in front of a lighthouse. Like, I don't think you'll ever come up against a lighthouse that I won't get a text about. So if nothing else, it connects you and me for the rest of your travels.
That's right. I'm always hunting.
The rest of your coastal travels, at least.
And I'm hunting a lighthouse every time. So you write this, and then you go back. Do you go back to the same agent and you say,
yeah, same agent, and do it again. We have not yet sold audio rights, which a lot of people have asked about the audiobook, or, foreign and film. Like, they can just come at different times. When Everything is Negotiable came out, it was a little bit more together, and this one is just taking longer. But I think that's okay. It's just something that I don't think a lot of people know about the publishing process is every place is different, every journey is different, every genre is different. And so, and rightly so, people are like, oh, do you have the audiobook? Or, oh, is it going to be on Netflix?
Yes.
God willing, it will be on Netflix.
No, it's totally, no, that doesn't even feel like a question. That feels like when. Have you gotten the response that you expected?
Meaning from people who've read it?
Yes. Yeah. Just
no, it's been quite far exceeded any expectation that I have and had for it. I think all of us, and I definitely would love to hit that New York Times bestseller list one day. It is a very weird Mount Everest for me that I often think about and go, why the hell do I care about? Like, because these bestseller, for people who don't know, it is literally what sold that week. And so depending on the competition that week, like, it's not the best selling of all time, right? So it's a very political list, but it's still like this white whale for me where I'm like, what? I mean,
I share that with you.
Who does, what writer is it like, no, thank you. It would be like an actor not wanting an Oscar. No, I'm good. I'm fine.
I don't need that.
You're enough in my craft.
I don't need that recognition.
No, definitely. But I will say, one thing I didn't expect that happened in terms of response is, I was given advice to do a book launch team. Did you do this with any of your books?
No. And yet, thank you. Like, I was not included on your book launch team. And then in the 11th hour, I threw a fit and I was like, I can't believe you didn't include me. And then you tried to include me and then I didn't get on any of them. So, but
hang on, listeners. I want to set the record straight. You were asked repeatedly and then still threw the fit. And we were like, we've sent you. Yes, straight. And yes.
I don't think that's true. Is that true?
Is that not true?
I don't think it's true.
Whatever makes me look better is what's true.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
Anyway.
I will say this about that. Your team and whomever is managing your communication. Wow. Beautifully done. And I did watch the launch, like you had your first launch call, and I literally was in somewhere.
I know.
Some other country, but I watched it and I loved it. And I thought, I love that you went through that process. Was that, that had to be all consuming, but also did that give you some, energy and some confidence as those people would get on every month and talk to you about the book?
Yes. So a friend told me you need to do a book launch team. And I was like, son of a bitch, I didn't know this was a thing. And I have 2 other books. That would have been very helpful to know.
Let's relaunch them.
Let's relaunch them. So essentially I put out a call on Instagram. I'm very active in stories. So I also was talking about it in stories and put out like an application. And we had about 80 people that spanned all the coast, like spanned from California up to Maine. We had 8 states represented. We had 2 people in Europe. We had 5 men. And I only laugh because it's definitely more of a woman's book. Although they would challenge me on that. And then they had a week. The only thing they had to do was they would get an advanced copy digitally. All they had to do was read and review. That was the only actual mandate for being in the launch team. And so a lot of them had to sign on to Goodreads for the first time, or, some people were very anti-Goodreads. So we learned about all these other platforms because Goodreads is owned by Amazon. And so these other platforms that people review. So my assistant was learning all of those platforms. And then every week we put together just tasks they could do if they wanted to. So post a picture of it on social media, recommend it to a friend, we put together lots of materials for them to go take to libraries and independent bookstores. And when I tell you, I had an unraveler, we called them the Unravelers. When I had an unraveler in Maine that messaged me and said, okay, I have the day off. I'm driving the whole coast of Maine and hitting every independent bookstore and submitting an order, like stuff like that. It was all the time, all month long. Hey, can you come speak to this? Hey, can you zoom into this? Hey, can we get copies at this library? But then beyond that, because I put them on a closed story on Instagram, they were having their reactions to Gemma, to the characters, to the story. And we were just sharing that and talking about that. So before this book is even launched, there's this whole community that was built around this that both me and my assistant Katie, did not see coming. Like, we did not see that part. Like, we thought we were going to have to beg for reviews or please read this. And that just wasn't the case. And so it built this thing. And in fact, the Unravelers are meeting next week for another just virtual talking that has nothing to do with the book club. The group has transcended the book, and I'll talk a little bit more about what our plan is there later. But so by the time the book came out, I was already at max exceeded expectations because of building that community, having that dialogue, feeling that way from it. It was such a soft landing that I honestly did not care. Like, after, like, at the book launch at Magic City, when we, and I have to plug this, that was the biggest author event they've ever had.
Of course it was. I couldn't even find a seat. I mean, I did
the fire code. We broke the fire code. I was like, don't call the fire marshal. When that was done, and this isn't really very fair because I've had numerous events since then, but that to me was like, it's no longer mine. And I let it go. And I really did just like, okay, Gemma's someone else's now. But it just, that summer with those Unravelers that was the best experience I've ever had professionally ever. Best experience I've ever had as a creative person. And it really taught me about like engaging a community and winning your crowd. And like, it's never about, I still want that New York Times, but like, those aren't people I know. You just have to find your crowd.
That's right.
And service that crowd. It's not, the other people don't matter. And I always knew that, but I guess it's the first time I saw it so vividly is through that experience.
So, when I was in Magic City, so let's just go there for a minute, but I want to call out you saying my assistant, Katie, just for a moment, just the reminder that, you're kind of Meg Myers Morgan Enterprises now. You're, like, can you imagine your life without Katie? You just can't.
Oh my God, no.
Right. Like, and
no.
It was a time not that long ago when you were like, I mean, like, if I did have a team, what would they, So anyway, so
I'm not big time enough for a team. Yes, for sure. And now I just openly talk about her.
I know. I love it.
I can't imagine my life without her. And so, yeah, my life or my work without her.
I love that. But as I was there at watching you, I didn't know what to expect. Some authors get up and read their book, which you did a bit. Some authors just do Q&A with a moderator and all the things. How did you decide what you wanted to do? Because that was the most interesting book launch I've ever experienced. So what went into that? And I loved it, by the way.
Can you say more about it being interesting? Like, just because I talked?
Because because of you stood there as if you had already birthed something that you were reflecting on. It was it was very much like you had released it. So when you were saying that earlier, that's what's making me ask the question. I watched you with a little bit of dissociation to that, like it isn't, and you were marveling at it in some way.
Yeah.
and describing it and in a way that I thought was genius. And when authors always say, I didn't know how because I didn't know what Gemma was going to want to do and all the things. You did know in this instance as you were writing it, but I felt as if that the book had a life of its own. And so
thank you for that.
Back to you. And then the part that you read, and I was sad I had not read it before the book launch, even though I may or may not have put a quote on the whatever you asked people to put a quote on. So I did review it. It was something nice.
As long as it's a good review, I don't care if it's a real review.
I gave you 5 stars, and then I read it, and then I think I did go back, but then it piqued my curiosity. But now I want to go back and hear all of that now that I have read the book. And I want to talk about Dr. Fox. I want to talk about, all the things.
And that's a really hard I think author events are really hard because Jim and I go to a ton of them. It was like our whole courtship was just going like we're not sports people is basically what I'm saying. Like, is there a chess match we can get to? Like, you have to assume. So not quite half of those people were Unravelers and had read it and discussed it at length. Then the other half are, who is this woman? Or they're supporters of me, but they obviously didn't have the book at that point.
Right.
So you don't want to spoil stuff, but and it's like, do you want to hear about my process? Do you want to hear about, so it was really kind of thinking about that. But how I came to the format was so much of everything is negotiable in hindsight was not me in full control of what was happening to me. And so a great example is I had hairbrained when I searched for an agent, because Jim and I published that. When I searched for an agent, I sent them the second manuscript. It was like basically, I think it was called Scatterbrained. It was like a sequel to Hairbrained. And she read it and said, yeah, these are hard to sell. I saw your TED Talk. Let's make it a book.
Oh.
And so that was not an idea I had. But I was like, okay, I didn't aspire to be in the self-help or professional development space, but that made sense at the time. And so a lot of that movement through that decade, well, I shouldn't say decade, 6 years, was a little bit of, okay, well, now what do I do? And then you launch this book, and it was one of the top 5 or big 5 publishers in New York, and they give you that much help, and then you're on your own. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I thought, oh, well, my book's here now. Everyone will find it and buy it. That's whatever. It's in the store.
Yeah.
So I had a former student, because the book is so much about mentoring students, come in and interview me. And again, it was very well attended, and it's, nice things happened. But that book has sold dramatically better in the last 4 years than it ever did the first, 2 or 3, which is unheard of, right? Books have like an 8-week peak,
right.
And so I had to learn over the course of Everything is Negotiable, like, oh, there's no one coming to save me. There's no one that's going to sell your book for you but you. And you are a fool if you think your best friend's going to buy it, your mom. Like my sister, I joke about this all the time. It's like, well, I get a free copy. Like, you would not believe how much the people that are closest to you won't buy or read your book. And I've had lots of people who are super close to me go, hey, I just thought Everything is Negotiable. Like,
yeah.
Oh, that's a book from 6 years ago. Which is totally fine. Like,
no, it's not. I want to double click on this right now, because I want to say this. Like, people would come to me and, and ask for a free copy.
Oh, yeah.
And even now, if someone wants to give me a copy of their book, I'm like, even if you do, I will give that one away and I will buy one.
Yeah.
Like, I do want everyone to hear it's $20 to support your friend.
Right.
I spent 6 years and blood, sweat, and tears and all things. But for sure, like
there is a part of Everything is Negotiable where I let that stuff, I would take that really personally.
Yeah.
So with this book, I just took the fucking reins. I was like, I am going to be so
intentional.
Yeah, about this whole thing. I'm going to own every piece of it. Nice. And so I was designing the signage that was in Magic City. I was arranging roses to match the back of the book. My whole outfit matched the book. Like, every single thing, whether people noticed it or not, every single thing, I was touching every single thing. And that, to me, like, okay, now I know what I'm doing and who I am in that endeavor, in a way that, looking back at Everything is Negotiable, I'm like, yeah, that it wasn't that I wasn't proud. I was very proud, but it wasn't all mine. And I don't think I knew that until Gemma came out, because I'm like, that was mine. That I owned all of that. I accepted all of that. I worked hard on the other, but it was mine, to the point, and I'm sure you saw this, but my daughter was like, I'm going to make friendship bracelets for the book launch. And so she, all summer long, and when I tell you, painstakingly matching the beads to the color of the book, so that it was, perfectly matched. All the pinks matched. I mean, it was Yeah, it just was in my bone marrow. And I will never do another creative pursuit without that piece of it, without being like the CEO of my own damn project. Because I honestly thought with everything is negotiable that the publisher would treat me like I was Stephen King and they'd send me on some book tour and they're like, no, bitch, this is all you get. Like, here's a press release, have fun. Yeah. And I also thought that, I'm keynoting all the time and I'm selling 500 books a keynote or whatever, that they would there be a fruit basket? No, they don't give a shit. Like, it is wild how little So in that, Katie and my agent and all this, I started seeing them and talking to them as a team. Nice. Instead of being like this authority that I thought was going to guide me, I'm like, no, I'm in charge. You're my team. And I think that has shifted me out loud and loudly.
That is impressive. And for those of you that are listening, Meg just held up her book and the bracelet that her daughter made. And this will also be on YouTube. So head over there and watch it. And, I could sense that in you. And part of me wondered, I didn't know this part of it. The other part of me wondered if what I was watching is somebody that finally is like, fuck yeah.
Yes. Yeah. 100%.
I loved it. I loved it. And I love that for you.
I just, like, at a certain point, I think I just got tired of them. And, catch me in 6 months, I might be right back to her, but kind of got tired of them.
Yeah.
Oh, where is my career? Like, why isn't it taking off more than it is? And I bet Oprah feels that way some days, it's just never enough, right? Like, so yeah, I got a whole lot of perspective.
Now, how much can I ask about the book? Because I don't want to give the book away yet. I want you to describe the book with as much detail as you want to. Because I know people are going to be listening, like going, well, what's the book about?
So the book follows Gemma Sinclair, who's a therapist, and she's just had her second child, and her estranged brother is coming to visit. And when he visits, her child gets injured at 4 days old, and that starts an unraveling of Gemma, who is clearly struggling with postpartum depression, though is in quite denial about that. And so this incident that involves her son triggers some memories of an incident that happened to her when she was a child. And so now she's faced with unraveling family secrets, family dynamics, how she's raising her kid. It unravels her marriage, her work. Everything is pretty much threatened for Gemma while she tries to kind of unravel and reweave her life back together.
Beautifully said. And that's exactly.
And I think we can talk about it because anyone who hasn't read it can fast forward through it.
That's true.
Oh, yes. All spoiler alerts.
That's true. So as somebody who's never had children, by the way, found a lot of that to be fascinating. And I'm in awe of moms anyway, just for how hard all of that is. But there was a lot of detail about all of that, having the children and all the things. And
you're talking about the physical detail, just so people understand the blood.
Yeah. There was
the blood and the pooping.
There was a lot of blood in this. But yet it was relative to understanding what Gemma was thinking and going through. Right. So I liked how you positioned it in that way, that it was not, and she's bleeding. It was just like, you somehow integrated that as a character almost for us to experience that in that way. I thought that was brilliant.
Thank you. I was most excited to talk about that stuff because I'm a huge novel reader, and I don't see a lot of period blood covered, of postpartum, the mesh underwear and the trying to take a shit after you've delivered vaginally. Like, we don't talk about it in our lives, and we certainly don't write about it. So it was exciting to write.
You kept saying, she's like, is she going to go or not? I was like, you got to go. She's got to
go. And the metaphor of your clenched bowels.
Yes. I got it. I got it.
I know you did. It's not subtle. It's a pile of shit. It's got to come out eventually.
Yeah. But I loved the control she had. No, not today.
Not today.
I mean, there's something about all of that. Like, of course, I'm always looking for all of the different meanings, especially in meanings on you. What was the thing that you all changed? The biggest things that you changed from when the first editor said meh, and then oh hey, this is good. What were the big changes?
So we got great feedback on writing, tone of voice, all these things that you probably couldn't change anyway. The feedback we got was the external tension was not as big as the internal tension.
I see.
It was nailing that internal tension, whether it was actual bowels impacted or just the family dynamics, but that the whole thing that we're unraveling, the whole mystery of what's happened with Gemma's family in the past that's kind of dominoed into what she is now was not to the level that it is right now. So
that's super important to the story.
It's super important, right? So you can imagine, wow, what was that first draft, Meg? And it was just a much weaker reveal.
I see.
And another sort of, and the way that came out was there's a scene where a character gets punched in the face. And that scene happened much earlier and by a different person.
Oh, really?
Jim said to me, and this is a spoiler, one night we were sitting there and all the cards were out and he turned to me and he said, I think Gemma punches Eddie. And it was such a...
instead of the husband is my guess.
Right, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Instead of the husband, that's right. And it was a moment where it was like, Meg, you wouldn't have punched someone, but you're not Gemma.
That's right.
And I'm like, oh, shit.
Are you?
We'll talk about that in a second. So Gemma punches Eddie, and it happens at a more like... Eddie's been punched in the head a lot. In lots of ways. The man needs to see a doctor.
But I loved exactly when it happened.
Exactly. Right.
Right.
But in order to shift that and have her do it, we had to, like, pun intended, unravel the whole thing and figure out what leads her to that point. So that was the big one. So I always joke that Jim got to say one line and I had to change all 80,000 words. The second one, which is very crucial, is the original therapist that Gemma goes to see was actually a cranky old Jewish therapist named Dr. Goldberg. And he was coming across very teacherly and sort of telling her, and I could not make it work. And something about it was a man teaching a woman. And
would not have worked. That would not have worked.
One night, Jim said, I think Dr. Goldberg's a woman. And when he said it, I was like, oh my God, of course she's a woman, because Gemma didn't need to be taught. She needed to be witnessed.
That's good.
Yeah, and it had me reflecting on my own mentorship in life. And when it had been men, it'd been very teacherly. And when they'd been women, it'd been very collaborative, very funny, whimsical, like what you and I do for each other, right? Like, hey, why can't you be a literary genius? And once that was in place, I was like, oh, doctor. And then Dr. Fox, I just had to earn her so hard. And is the single character I get the most feedback on, is the one I am in love with and love.
Me too. I'm in love with her too.
Yes, you said if you were not taken.
That's right. I would be asking.
Character.
That's right.
Would be perfect for you.
I would like Dr. Fox's number.
So she was so fun to write. But then what that did was change because those scenes that happened between Gemma and the therapist are so important to the story, because you want Gemma to do some work in the room and then some work outside the room, and like making sure those rooms, when are we going to tell this? When are we going to discover this? And so that also changed the cadence, because once she started being a partner and not just like an old man telling her how to feel or what was going on, I changed the whole book. So yeah, and looking back, your first 7 drafts are just total and utter horseshit. And then you do it again. And
I have to ask a Dr. Fox story. So the part where she goes over and hugs her,
Or sits on the couch with her?
Is on the couch with her. Yes. Maybe I was wanting her to hug her. But I mean, did that happen to you?
No.
How did you how did you have that knowing?
How did I have the knowing for her to try that?
Yeah, that was a strategy
So
in the for her.
My coaching training was through Columbia, and it was very much taught by psychoanalysts, psychologists, and counselors. And so a lot of the people that went through that program themselves were psychoanalysts. So I did a lot of the peer-to-peer work with them. We did a lot of things like that. And I remember working one time because as part of that program, you had to be talking to your cases with somebody else,
right,
just like a therapist would.
Right.
And he did something, and I'm honestly blanking on what it was, but he did something where he tried something with me. We were over Zoom, but he tried something with me, and I was like, what's going on? He's like, I'm just trying something. And I'd never heard someone say, I'm just trying something. Like, to be transparent that you're trying something. And it was like, well, I didn't like that. And he was like, okay, well, then let's try something else. And I was like, oh, like you can be working in drafts in a room with people. Like, it was crazy. So that was sort of where that came from. Is I think definitely more maybe psychoanalysts than maybe therapists will do stuff like they will try something. Like they might try to make you mad, or they might join you. Like if you say, oh, I'm terrible. Yeah, you are terrible. They might try something. And so I knew that was like a piece of their training. And so just doing some research on what would that look like and what would that kind of, but a lot of this was also just pulled from, you and I know what it's like to sit in a room and coach someone is not too unlike therapy, because it's doing unconscious work. And so just once I had Dr. Fox's character so in my head, I was like, she's going to be a little silly. She's going to be a little, I don't know, eccentric, or I don't know, just.
Well, that scene, I can still see it right now. The way you wrote it was beautiful. And I liked that I thought she has a knowing here. Like it made me
okay, so on that, I wonder what people are saying when they say that, like, oh, she played that character so well, she must have had that in her past. Or a writer could only write it if they knew it. Does that make, like, it's a hard question?
Though you did know it.
I did know it, but what are you commenting on?
I didn't know from where you knew it. That is not something that doesn't come. I think great writers are able to connect to the truth.
Okay.
And so that felt so truthful.
Oh.
But I also think that's why you're a great writer. Everything you do, and my experience of you, is it is from a knowing.
Yeah.
And so
that's fair.
The bias I went into with that book is Meg's not writing about shit she doesn't know. And so, but I was predisposed that you're like, I'm not Gemma. So I knew, but then I read it, I was like, she's fucking Gemma, because every woman is Gemma that has children, and every woman is Gemma that has a Gemma, and every woman is Gemma that has a brother. So that was my reconciliation of that. But that piece for some reason.
It's so cool, Tracy, that's something that resonated with you, because I think when the Unravelers had the virtual book club on launch day, I said, please no, I'm not Gemma, or maybe I am. And everyone was like, no, you're Dr. Fox, which, okay, fine. Which is great, because everyone loves Dr. Fox, and everyone's kind of a little iffy about Gemma because they get mad at her throughout the book. But I do think the seeds of that book, the holding in the poop, the trying to be perfect, the postpartum depression, the anxieties, of course, that comes from a place of knowledge and a place of extreme experience. So I'm like, what's the metaphor? Is it that's the foundation, and then I built the house on it? Am I her? Am I not her? They're not my plot points, but they're definitely my emotions. Like, it's hard. And then when people had such a strong reaction to Gemma, sort of the Unravelers set up this camp of like, team want to slap Gemma in the face, team I would die on the hill for her. And then people that are like, oh, now that it's been a couple months, I do think that I love Gemma, or, I wasn't
That's
expecting that at
interesting.
all. I just was not expecting her to be that controversial, which I think is great. Like I truly do welcome it, but I was like, that one surprised me. I guess, that one kind of shocked me.
Here's my take. I would imagine, depending on how you be the reader, how the reader would have reacted in that situation is going to define how they feel about Gemma.
Correct.
So I think they're talking more about themselves
Yes,
than they are
for sure.
about Gemma.
And that's the level of depersonalizing that I have in this book of like, that wouldn't have occurred to me with Everything is Negotiable. But this one, I'm like, yeah, I don't know what that bitch is doing either. Like I was writing it and I'm like, uh-oh, Gemma's about to do something stupid. And so, yeah, like you're right. You should be debating her. But I think if we go back one rung, we're talking about judging a character when this book is about a character being judged. Like we're doing the very thing the book is saying we do too much, right? This woman is in crisis.
That's right.
And can't get help and can't admit it to herself and is still trying to do all things to all people. And these people are reading the book going, what's she doing?
Yes.
She's unraveling.
Knowing that they have done the same thing.
I know.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's right. I mean, you protest the things you, whatever that statement is. You see yourself and all the stuff. Yeah. No, I did. Eddie is, I mean, we won't do, but I won't talk about Eddie when we have a drink, like I have a lot to say about Eddie and, but that's what's so fucking good about the book and you. I finished the book and I kept thinking about them as if I knew them.
Oh,
I wonder if they're having dinner, but just like I kept thinking about, wow, there was probably more to Eddie than what we got, like, as you would, as if you knew somebody, you would be like, man, like, well, there wasn't enough time to write all this stuff. How did this play out for him in the first 30 days? Like you could write a book about the event.
Yeah. Yeah.
From Eddie's perspective.
That's right. That's right.
And it would be so fucking good.
Did you feel sympathy toward him in the end?
I did, but I wanted him to be, yes, and I wanted him to reveal himself more, but there was no time for that because it wasn't about his story. That's why I'm saying, book about his story. You could not have written enough about him and done justice to Gemma, I don't think. So I thought the juxtaposition of we know enough to
understand Gemma
and enough to understand him. I thought that was I just thought it was beautifully done.
Thank you. And I'm realizing now as we're talking, I've maybe had one or two comments about Eddie.
Really?
But everyone's got issues with Gemma.
Oh, it's Eddie.
But let me tell you why I think that is. So one of the things that Jim was insistent on is to not head hop in the book. And head hopping when you're writing a novel is anytime you're assuming from the character's point of view what the other person is thinking. So, or as though it's fact. So if Jim is sitting there and watches Anthony walk in the room and he looks mad, or he is mad, that's head hopping because we don't know anything about Anthony. And it happens in the tiniest ways when you're writing.
Okay.
He would circle. We went through one draft together where it was just head hopping, where he would just circle, how would she know that? Or there might be blocking in a scene where, like at the hospital, she's walked away, but a conversation's still happening. And Jim's like, she wouldn't have known this. Like, even though she's 3 feet away, she wouldn't have known this. So you're having to get so intensely in this woman's point of view. And I mean, draft after draft of him circling these head hops to the point where I started like healing about head hopping in real life, where I'm like, I can't assume that. I don't know that, right? It's like because this is not written in first person, it's written through Gemma's point of view. You are so in Gemma, and you don't even know from that trick that you are so immersed in Gemma and you're following her that you don't even, everything else is speculation. So if we're mad at Gemma because she's making an assumption, it's because she's making like there's nothing else to do but make assumptions. So that was something that I was very grateful for Jim and immensely proud of the book, because I think that's why it immersed people in her.
I don't know the answer to that, but I know this. that's what a man would say, and that's what a woman would say. It's like I think typically women would make some decision and head hop, where men would be like, no. So I think that's stereotypical. Don't you?
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. Like the fact that we assume things is inherent to us and a good thing.
Not all men, not all women, but I think my experience of women is that there's always a barometer at play. Like,
yes, for sure.
What's the weather? What's the weather? Am I, for whatever reason? And not all men, not all women, but seems that men in my life have been like more like, well, I'll tell you what the weather is. Like, yeah, right. Like, so that's interesting that you creatively have both of those and that you honored those. Was there ever a moment where you're like, Jim, he's fucking mad. I just don't know. I can just Gemma just knows he's mad. Or did you?
No, the one thing that we really sort of had the only tension around was Gemma rolled her eyes a lot. And he like excessively, like at one point we counted up how many times he's like, I have 42 eye rolls. I need you to get it down to 12. And I'm like, I'll give you 30, like it was. And when you start to read it, she starts to read as just very like a teenager. Right. But to me, it's such a natural, like I'm a sire and the girls are always like, why are you sighing? And I'm like, I have to have something like, I'm not upset. I just need to do so. And so finding different ways to let this woman exhale without being like, I'm like, can I have this eye roll? And he's like, prove to me this eye roll is important. And so I would have to defend each eye roll. And I'm like, okay, look at me, Jim, because I'm going to roll my eyes at you right now. So that was maybe the only source where we were just like, and he was ultimately right. And this is, I trust him implicitly, but, and
listen, that's why the book is so fucking good. That's what everybody needs to hear. The fact that you're talking in detail is the care that you all were giving to the characters, and it comes off to the reader. So well done.
Thank you.
And listen, I am looking at your thank you for being with me so long here. This is a conversation that, again, never ends. And I want to talk about it again. But let's talk a bit about the book. Where can people find the book? And if they want to be can they be Unravelers? What does that look like?
So we're actually launching the Unravelers platform in January because we've had such a great response to this little community. So we're launching it to where it'll have, my writing, some videos, community together, where we'll join in discussion on like Zoom and all of that. So we're launching that in January. So megmyersmorgan.com, get signed up on subscribe so you can be in our bank of people to send this out to. We're very excited about that. You can get the book anywhere where books are sold. I wouldn't say they're in every bookstore because that's just not how books work.
Yet.
If you're local, please go to Magic City because typically they'll let me know if there's books down there that have been bought and I can go run down there and sign them, which I love to do. And then, of course, there's Bookshop, which is an independent online source, which I also recommend as well. And Magic City Online sells it. And then, of course, Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And then if you love it, leave a review. And if you hate it, leave a review.
Yeah, and make it a good one. Listen, people need to understand that those reviews matter. And so,
oh my God.
So go.
I wish they did.
Yeah. But it does matter. Like that's and listen, for people that, and we'll talk about this at another time, but I want to mention this, the amount of care and work and everything that goes into somebody releasing a book, like to respect that and to appreciate that. And you must navigate like I do at times. I want to talk about all the things, but I don't want people to go, God damn it, stop talking about all the things. Yeah, you got to err on the side of talk about it because, people need to grow their tolerance and appreciation for what would have to go into this. And if they birthed a book like you have done in that way, they would want us to buy it.
The quote I love is, "You'll only be criticized by people doing less."
Oh.
Isn't that good?
That's almost a lighthouse moment for me. I love that. Yeah, it's true.
I'm never going to go to another author's page and be like, I am never going to go to another speaker and be like, let's talk about that keynote. Yeah. No, if you're doing your shit, then you're not criticizing. So the people whose opinion matters most to me are not going to be the ones that are going to criticize anyway. So
Is
yeah,
that true?
yeah, for sure. It is now.
It is now. It
It's
used
just
to be.
years of therapy.
Yeah. Okay, I have a question. So creatively, you can help me. So as you know, still writing Trailer Park Universe.
Yes, how's it going?
Great. And so I'm trying to name the community because I don't like Trailer Park Partners. Are they, so like help me out here because what I want, so Trailer Park University I grew up in a trailer park, as you know, and it is all of the lessons that I learned as a kid. What I want people to think about is how the lessons you learn as a kid still show up today. And so the community, what I want them to feel is some safety and some connection to whatever happened, good or bad, how that's playing out. And so that's.
I have a name, but I don't know if the story's in the book.
Tell me.
Is the Anchors for Christmas in the book?
Yes.
And can they be the anchors?
I love that.
I mean, it doesn't have to be, but that's kind of appeals to all the words you just said.
The fact that you remember the anchors.
It's like a very good story.
Thank you.
It's hard to forget. I mean, and also you're worth listening to, but it's a hard to forget story.
Thank you. I like it.
And I think people would only get it if they'd read it. And that's another kind of appeal to it as well.
Oh, nice.
Before we go, though, I have to tell you the story about what happened at Magic City.
Tell me everything.
I don't know if you know this.
Oh,
Busy Phillips was in the store. Did you see her? Do you know who this is?
no, but I heard the buzz when I walked in. So yes, tell us everything.
So one of the Unravelers comes up to me. So before the event starts, I wasn't expecting this. All these people are swarming me and I'm signing their books, which I'm going to sign after, but I'm just signing books. And there's all these people and I don't know, a third of the people in there. And an Unraveler comes up to me and she grabs my hands and she said, I don't want you to panic, but I want you to be present with me when I tell you this. Busy Phillips is in the store. And I said to her, I can't process that right now, and walked away, which is very unlike me. But I was just like, I don't. And she didn't say store. She said in the building. And for whatever reason, I interpreted that as another level, even though Magic City is one story, but whatever. And then I literally turn around and she's standing there in the middle of an aisle looking at cookbooks. And with all the calmness, because I am a huge fan of hers. Like anyway, I think I've seen everything she's ever done.
What's the most famous thing she's done?
Well, she was on Dawson's Creek.
Okay.
She was on Cougar Town. She was in Mean Girls, the musical. She's huge, huge, huge on Instagram. I love following her on Instagram. She's in tons of movies, White Chicks, like tons. Anyway, so I walk over to her. I'm surprised, as I'm sure everyone says about people in Hollywood, she is tiny. She is my height. And I said, hello, Busy Phillips. This is my book event. I just released a novel. Can I get you a copy? And she said, sure. So she walks over with me. I passed the executive director. I said, I'm giving Busy Phillips a copy, so make sure that I pay for it, which I have not yet done. So a reminder to me to call. We walk over to the table. Jim is seeing this. I don't know this at the time, but we've brought in a photographer. So he's running to get the photographer to come over and snap this picture. The photographer is very unaware, as he should be, as an old white man. This woman. What is the hubbub about this woman? So I come over, I hand her, because I made a reading guide for the book. I had so much fun with this. It has a playlist in it. So I'm showing her it has a playlist. It has discussion questions. It has the recipe for the shrimp pasta. And she's looking at it. She's like, oh, I had a playlist for my book. And I was like, I loved your book. And she's like, thank you. And I said, my assistant Katie actually made this playlist. She's like, well, you've got to learn to make your own playlists. And I was like, I will, Busy Phillips. I will learn to make my own playlists. And I said, now let us get you an Unravelers bracelet. So I took her over to Lowry and I told the crowd, I said, everyone move away until Busy Phillips gets her bracelet. And Busy gets her bracelet. And then at this point, I see the photographer and I'm like, Busy, do you mind getting a picture? And she's like, of course. And so she takes a picture. And I was like, well, it was great to meet you. So she goes to walk away and I said, thank you for being here, Busy. And then I laughed at myself because she's not there for me. Thank you for being here, Busy. And it tickles her to some degree. So she turns around and is like, let's get a selfie. So she gets her phone out and gets a selfie with me holding the book and then left. And literally maybe 10 people saw her, if that. She was very discreet. not going to take away from my night, Busy Phillips. So later that night, the same woman who, or maybe the next day, the same woman who had told me she's in the store said, you're on stories, you're on her story. So I'm, oh my God. So I'm looking on stories. And then the next day, same woman, you're on the grid. And I'm like,
not the grid, not the grid.
on the grid. I mean, I'm in a photo dump, but it's our selfie, but I didn't get a selfie on my phone. So then Jim's like, I'm like, I've got to have these pictures. And he's like, I'll work. Cause he was working with a photographer at somebody Jim uses professionally at his work. And so the guy writes, and he's like, you'll have them the next morning. We don't have them the next morning. And I'm starting to panic. What if it was corrupted? What if we didn't get the what? Like it's me and Bigfoot. Well, I've got to have this picture of me and Busy Phillips. And so I don't know if you can even see this, if I can turn it, but I have taken the picture and blown it up. That is a 24 by 24 picture of me and Busy Phillips. And I don't even have pictures of my kids that big. Busy Phillips. And so when she put me on the grid and she tagged me in it, it sends you a little direct message. And I wrote back and I said, thank you so much. Because I think in the comments she had put, it was destined for me to be there.
Well, she might be playing Gemma.
I wrote back, you should play Gemma. And she said, haven't read it yet. I mean, this is the next day, but let's do it, babe. And so I told my agent, can we just say that Busy Phillips is attached to the project? Is this how those rumors get started? But then I was like, she would actually be an amazing Gemma. So anyway, that was
You need to print that and put that on a vision board where she said, let's do it, babe.
I know. I will. That's a good idea. But then, her best friend is Michelle Williams. And I was like, she'd make a hell of a Mary, right? Like these two
100%.
women. So, and when I tell you that wasn't even the best part of the night, that's how good that night was, that wasn't even the best part of the night. And I met Busy Phillips.
I love that story so much. Why is she in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
If she was filming, this is even wilder. She was filming a movie with Ron Perlman, who had just done a book event the night before at Magic City. She did her book event at Magic City years ago. So she knew the bookstore and was just in there, randomly in there on the night of my book launch. Now you tell me that's not something.
That there are no coincidences. I mean, like I am dialed into it has happened, and
it has happened. It has happened.
Have to work out.
To be a real psycho, I watch her stories all the time, but when she was still in Tulsa, she would do her stories from her bed and I could see Gemma on her nightstand. And I'm like, is there a bookmark in there? Can we tell if she's read it? And then I had this moment where I was like, I have to let this go. Like whatever will be, like, if that's all it was, that was enough. But I can't get all like, oh my God, I just have to let it go. But Busy Phillips, read the book, please. Please. I'd be such a delight to work with.
So I'm going to tell the editor of the podcast to tag Busy Phillips.
Yes.
Podcast. So let's tag Busy Phillips on this.
Busy Phillips, read my book. You need to play. How good are you at acting out taking a postpartum shit? That's the audition. And we have to get Tig Notaro to play Dr. Fox.
Tig Notaro would be amazing.
She'd be amazing.
Okay. Because
now you really love her.
I do, but I couldn't picture, Jane Lynch is who came to mind because she always was a therapist.
Yes,
I pictured the dark hair being long.
Yes. Well, and I didn't think of Tig when I was writing it. It was only after that I was like, ooh. Yeah. Because I'm obsessed with Tig Notaro. So tag her too. We got to get the whole band together.
I love
obsessed. So I won't sell the movie rights unless those two are attached. That's just the deal.
Maybe it's Rosie O'Donnell. She has long hair. And
you know her. She would make a great. Oh my God. Tracy, why do we ever spend any time apart?
I don't know. Can we just live together now?
Yes.
And Jim, of course, and the kids.
That's fine. It's fine. They can stay here.
That's right. Okay. Well, listen, since nobody's listening anymore, I'm just going to just say to you, I'm just so fucking proud of you. And I'm always inspired by you. When I see a post or whatever, or when I see you, but when you and I are connected, I feel better. And so thank you.
From the moment I met you at Foolish Things Coffee House, the last thing you said to me is, how can I help you? And that you have shown up for me so much in my life since the moment I met you. And I notice it all the time. You were in, I don't even know. I think you traveled to Mars the night before you came, the night before the book event, and you were still there. Like, yeah, you're one of a kind. You're one of a kind.
That's easy to cheer for you. I love you, my friend. Good luck.
I love you too.